Okay, let's have a fun little sound design session. So I have a blank instance, nothing put on here right now, so I'll need to route to our effect, number 52. Send that to the outputs. And of course, go to insert effect 1. And then let me initialize AL1. I'll just go, whoops, just go with one oscillator. Put my sustain all the way up. Okay, so here we are. And you can already hear the phaser. Let me kind of zero this out. Yeah, I like negative. I don't want that much resonance right now. No depth for now, and then I'll set the center frequency. Don't want that much width. Definitely want MIDI tempo sync. And then, if you're familiar with my videos, you know I like 170. For some reason, BPM is on 120 by default. Just hit it 0, and then that makes the MIDI sync up with whatever time you have. I like to use my common LFO, so it resets, so I have some control over that. And I'll do a sync reset to gate, which is going to make the first note start at the same phase and restart the LFO. So restart the sampling points. I'll have this at like eighth notes, no times. And I want to use noise to start off because I want to see the effect. Cool, so I'm using the negative dry wet, which I like more. And let's increase this a little bit. So not too high. I think somewhere around there is what I like. I do like the sound of the step sign. If you want this to sound more like a solo, you could do random, but let's start out with step sign for now. And let's give it some depth. I like the randomness of the half note, sampling at an eighth note. Wow, that caught it in a place where it only had 2 sample spots. And yeah, I do want sync reset because this will make it more rhythmic. It might shift or sample. It might grab samples to hold on beats that aren't synced up, like on off beats or something, if it's not resetting the pulse LFO on key on. Let's see, what else do I want? I will end up doing phase offset in a bit. And I don't need to offset this phase for now. Okay, so one thing that I want to do, I'll actually take depth off for a second. I'm going to give it some resonance, of course, negative resonance, so I increase the peaks. But then I do want to compensate by giving it more wet so I can get my notches back. And it looks like 69 or so. Yeah, like 68 is giving me full notches again. So I want to have, you know what? I want to change that. I want it so I do have it at 50-50 and I don't have notches up top. So then I can give it high dampening to give myself notches up top, because what that's going to do is it's going to leave this area without notches, but then give me notches for the areas that contain the harmonics of the sound. In other words, the fundamental of the notes that I play won't be untouched, but it won't duck to 0. It won't get phase canceled to no sound. So, but the high frequencies will, by giving it some high dampening. Cool, perfect. Now let's give it some depth again. Cool. Now let's try listening to a saw. So see how this notch can duck harmonics down to, like it can take them away. And it can move harmonics down here, but it will never duck them all the way down. Nice. And we saw a noise that this other notch was ducking down to 0, but it's probably skipping between harmonics right now for this particular note. If it were thicker, we might be able to see that ducking. So let's go ahead and do that. Got that double one again. Let's give it another oscillator. And for this one, I'll choose a double saw. And let's modulate it with an LFO. I just use LFO2 for oscillator 2. An intensity of like 40-ish, and if we wanted to hear that in isolation. So it doesn't sound like much because we don't have the wave morph up. There it is. Now for this LFO, I have a key synced. Half note sounds good to me. So that's a different kind of thickness from what we're doing with oscillator 1. Let me continue isolating oscillator 2, and let's see what it sounds like with FM. Increments of 6 or 12 end up sounding the best. I can't remember why that is, but yeah. It sounds a little bit more digital and harsh with the setting. I actually like that because then I can just use this to like give myself as much high end as I want. I kind of like the digital nature of that. Let's mess with edge. Take away a little bit of that digital harshness. And let's give it some sub-oscillator. And let's have it be real low. So you can almost hear the sub-oscillator is like untouched by the phaser. And speaking of the phaser, let's go back to that and kind of tune its center frequency. I think I like it around there. And let's see. See what ring mod is doing. Ring mod almost sounds like it's like stabilizing the sound right now. Let's try a different algorithm. Oops. I think I might like clip. No, I think I actually like rectify. It's adding a little bit of motion. It might be a little bit difficult to hear, but... Alright, let's get some filter going on in here. Let's go with a let's just go with let's go with the multi-filter. And I want to choose something with a high pass. And let's bring our frequency all the way down. Keep the reso base on tight. And let's give some filter mod. I want this filter to be kind of like an effect, so I don't want any intensity on the key tracking. And I do want the envelope generator to have full effect on it. And I'll end up throwing some LFO1 on there, but let's fashion the envelope first. Let's bring our break and sustain all the way down. And let's give it some resonance since I'm having difficulty hearing it. I want it to be a lot slower. Let's try this one. That sounds nice. Let's give it some LFO. And let's go with a step LFO since we're doing that with the phaser. And now I want it so I don't hear any of this LFO when the filter's closed, or open technically for a high pass. That sounds good. Let's have the attack of this get a bit longer. And in fact, let's control this attack by velocity. So let's go with time modulation, velocity, attack up to something pretty high. Cool. It's not really noticeable, but it's definitely there. And then let's see. How about for the filter EG? We modulate the attack level with velocity. So it's almost like the filter's just closed right in the beginning unless we give it some velocity and modulate the attack level. Nice. Let's add some... Actually, let me add some drive. That sounds cool. And let's add some drums. I'm gonna bring this down to -12 because I'm gonna use some like standard like room drums. And let's choose pop 6. And let's actually use the drum kit outs. Oh, I should have auto-loaded the EQ, but that's fine. I don't know if this really had any EQ anyway. Actually, let's try it out. No, there's no EQ. So yeah, I want to get rid of, let's have it play right away. Let's go with something a little slower. Not that. That sounds better. So there's like a hat in there. I just got rid of it by turning this routing off. And I don't want to go through the phaser, so I'm routing just everything to the output. This is the only one that would have been going to the phaser, but just for cohesiveness, I'm putting them all in left, right. That sounds good. Okay, let's give it some width. So I'll go to my insert effects. Let's give it like 30. I always choose between like 0 and 30 because I just like a little bit of width. And let's see what this sounds like with some chords. I have some chords in Cubase, so let's just see what it sounds like. And let's give it some drum check. So the phaser is a little bit loud. I'm gonna turn that down. So it came out moderately okay, not the best. I did make this sound. I did like fine tune this sound. So this will be an example of like if I set everything very carefully. But that was the basic concept behind this patch, and I'll have this patch available on like Patreon or something. But here's the like the finalized version. Okay, thanks.